Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how top experts sell their ideas, their value, and their services. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want better clients, bigger deals, and higher fees. Business coaching, holy smokes. Business coaching, there are schmucks, there are yahoos, there are yo-yos. We're not talking to any of those people today. We are talking to an award-winning business coach, and she'll tell us more about that in a moment. A true rock star, someone I've worked with, someone I love, someone whose work I endorse 1,000%. Rina Mora, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So tell us the professional journey that brought you into this crazy business, and what were some interesting pit stops along the way for you?
Well, the professional journey actually started with my family's business as a kid, watching my parents run a business, not know how to run a business, and just being a very inquisitive child. Why do you do that? Where does the money go? How do we do this? And then as I got into going to work for myself, learning about numbers, I'm a numbers person, I'm a systems person. I like to know what the end is and work backwards. So I learned as I've had my own businesses. This is my second business, and helped other people run their businesses, that systems are everything. If you don't have a step-by-step process, at least for myself, it's really hard to stay consistent and efficient. So what I've learned is a lot of people just kind of wing it. And that's never really worked with me in jobs or professions. So always having some type of a system for myself is really where I learned that that's a challenge for most business owners, is having a consistent system that keeps them in action and focused and out of overwhelm.
Yeah, amazing. So tell me, I'm curious, you mentioned about growing up in the family business, and then of course now you have your own business. You had obviously some jobs in between there. What were some of the jobs working for the man, so to speak?
Working for the man, I have worked in offices. I've been a chiropractic assistant and office manager. I've actually been a lot of office managers for a lot of different types of businesses, which there's a lot of systems that go into that. I was in hospitality for over 20 years, so really learning customer service, how to anticipate needs of not only the guests, but the team. So I've worked in hospitality, big nightclubs, running music festival bars, just really getting in it. I love busy. I don't know why I love busy, but I thrive on busy. And I've also worked with financial institutes, doing loan processing, doing banking, working with attorneys. I've worn every hat. I feel like I'm a business chameleon. And I also feel like that's what's really helped.
Wow. How about that? So it's so funny because obviously the entrepreneurial DNA, typically, it's a cliche, but I guess it's a cliche based on experience. Right brain, creative, the visionary, the big picture thinker. And when we start talking about the things that you're awesome at, which is systems, process, numbers, financial discipline, marketing discipline, sales process, you seem to have this kind of half left brain, half right brain merged together inside of one human being. How do you navigate that, and how do you sort of keep from tilting from one extreme to another?
Well, it helps that I'm a very linear thinker and I am very literal. So I find that I'm a bullet point speaker and I'm a bullet point thinker. If there's a lot of different, we'll say, for analogy, colors in the crayon, in the coloring box, it's a little too much. So I tend to gravitate to the basics of the foundation. I like
Yeah.
to get all that clutter out so that I can focus on, okay, literally thinking and linearly thinking, this is the route. And then how do we add in the creativeness to work with the strength of whoever I'm working with?
So we're going to get into kind of all the entrepreneurial craziness that you see on a daily basis with your clients and your audiences. I'm curious because folks listening are going to fall into one of three buckets. There's going to be the solo business owner, the solopreneur, so to speak. There's going to be the small business owner, right? Maybe 5-10 employees / contractors. And then there's going to be probably a larger, sort of more medium-sized business, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. And they're in some kind of professional services, accounting firm, law firm, engineering firm, IT consulting, cybersecurity, what have you. Going just wherever you want to start, wherever you're inspired to begin, talk about some of the challenges or some of the stages and phases of what tends to be missing in the smalls and solos, what tends to be missing in the mediums, and what tends to be missing in some of the larger firms that you've worked with.
So we'll go in order. So with the smalls, the newer businesses, what I find is a lot of foundational. A lot of small business owners, newer business owners go into business for themselves because they don't want to make somebody else money. So they know their craft. They know what they're good at, and they know how to do it. And they just go for it, and business is good because there's referrals. However, the foundation of the business isn't there. Really understanding how to track your numbers, what a P&L is, how to know what type of work you have to put in up front to create a steady business. And then where do you move from that? Where do you fill in the gaps to get you to the business that you really want? What does that revenue look like? How much work do you need to put in and time investment to be able to get the output that you're looking for? So small businesses, it's really about that knowledge and learning how to run the business.
And so that sounds like for the small and the solos, really they've built themselves a job instead of a business. And they also don't have the foundational systems or financial savvy that they need. And literally, I've seen this, you've seen this. You'll find someone who's running maybe even 100, 150 to 200K business. No P&L, no monthly bookkeeping. They're like, I make sure there's money in the bank at the end of the month. And then if there's money, I take it out. Rina, if there's no money, I don't take it out. And you're probably losing your mind at this point, going, dude, that is not the way to run a business. But it's that level of financial naivete. Use the word naivete in a sentence. It's that babe in the woods, like, I should track my numbers. I should know what's coming in and what's going out and when and why and where. It's like, yes, you should. It's like trying to lose weight, but you never get on the scale.
Yes. Knowing your activity, who are you talking to? It's really about learning how to be the business owner and then just be the conglomerate that can look over here and go, ooh, the visionary. This is what I want. This is how I want it to be.
Yes.
And then filling in the gaps.
Okay, beautiful. Let's go to the mediums. Like once you have a little bit of a team, maybe you're already past the 2, 3, 4, 500K mark. You're making moves. You're that mountain climber, right? You've passed base camp and you're climbing up the mountain. What are some of the gaps and challenges and blind spots there?
Micromanagement, not having, just wanting to still control the business and still holding on to that hustle culture mentality. Like I have to always be in there. I always have to be working instead of reviewing your systems, making sure that your staff your team knows what they're doing. It's a reflection of how you want your business to continue to reflect you. And leveling up your team so that they can step up and not only do what you want them to do, but be a participant in the business. Trusting your team. So again, creating those new systems, looking at what's important, what their priorities are for their vision of the business versus for what everybody else should be doing. Because with the right systems in place, that's already taken care of. So now it's about, what do you want? How do you want to participate in your business? How do you want to participate in your life? You've worked this hard and you don't, how are you enjoying your life? How are you bringing that quality of life into the growth of your business and letting that trickle into your team as well?
So the small and solos, let's call those, they're the crafts person, right? They're doing the work of the work. Now, what we're talking about here in that middle layer is the mountain climber. Layer above this is, let's call them the empire builder, right? 7 figures plus, 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 maybe even multi 7 figures, small manufacturing company, medium-sized accounting firm, whatever it is. You get big, there's a new level of complexity. There's a new level of relationship between revenue and profit. So sometimes revenue goes up, but profit for the partners or the owner goes down. And there's a whole set of other problems there at that empire builder phase. What do you see, and how do you advise your empire builder clients?
So the empire builder clients, it really is about being able to oversee everything and participate with your teams, getting involved, and again, also trusting your teams, being able to know that you are giving them the right message, having the right conversations, the communication, the community, so that you are letting them lead the way while you're paying attention to the big deal. Who are we working with? Where is the vision? What do I need to prepare to make sure that this train doesn't fall off, go off the rails? Who am I talking to? Who do I need to bring in? Where are the loops in my business? Not being blind to what's happening, but really taking an active role in your business, but not being in it.
Right.
So
or at least not being in it up to your
hover,
eyeballs. Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So not like the helicopter mom, but being able to hover.
Right. You're the AWACS aircraft that is navigating over the fleet to make sure all the ships and supply ships and warships and planes and helicopters are going in the right formation, in the right direction.
And it's about knowing who you want on your team at that point.
Yeah.
What are the characteristics that you need for the people on your team? What are you looking for? What type of team members do you need to keep all those other teams going?
Do you love selling? I know, me too. Do you hate selling? I know, me too. Listen, fantastic sales book you got to get your hands on. How do I know? It's mine. That's how. Do It Selling is now available for sale. Grab your copy, grab all the bonuses, all the companion tools, all the training, all the videos that go with it at doitselling.com. See you over there. So this does not sound flashy. This does not sound necessarily sexy. This kind of sounds like some hard work that we really have to get our nose to the grindstone. And so I'd love to bust a few myths with you. Because when people hear this, they're like, that's not why I got into business. I got into business to follow my passion. I got into business to make a difference. I got into business to have an impact. And I don't need to know numbers and systems and process and financials and P&L and all that boring business stuff. Can't I just hire? Isn't that what my bookkeeper is for? Isn't that what my accountant is for? Short answer is no. But when you hear people go, Rina, that's not exciting. That's not my strength. That's not my jam. They'll sometimes say, Rina, I'm not a numbers person. And then what do you come back with?
The thing is, you don't have to be a master at everything. You need to understand, because sure, you can hire people to do that, but you have no knowledge, no control of what's really happening. You can hire people, but you can also hire people to rob you blind. You can also hire people to run your business into the ground because you're not taking an active role. If you want that, to work in your passion, then you want to do it the right way so it's sustainable.
Absolutely. What would your advice be to someone who is, and I know that you have clients like this, I have clients like this, they've worked really hard, they've gotten to some sort of plateau, and they're just not happy. They're not happy in their business as it is today. They might be making the money that they want, they might not be making the money that they want, but they're kind of looking back after 3 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years, and they say to themselves, is this all there is? And it seems like I'm waking up, doing the work, going to bed, wake up the next day, lather, rinse, repeat. It's gotten kind of drudgery. It's gotten like drudgery. It's gotten kind of boring. It's kind of wearing me down. What do you say to that seasoned business owner that just has lost the mojo or lost the fun factor?
I have to tell you, this is actually probably one of my favorite type of business owners to speak with, because it's about getting back to why you started. And it's important to revisit our visions and our goals to make sure it is still in alignment with where we are and what we want. What changed? Where did the lights go out that used to spark your joy? Like, what is that? And is that still what you want? Because if it's not, maybe it's time for us to think of an exit plan to figure out what that is. If it's time to make some adjustments in what your business vision is or what that vision of success looks like for you, then that's what we do, because that is where you review your systems and you change your numbers and your activities and your goals to keep you in that place of what got you going in the first place. So either you really still want this, you want it, but it looks a little different and we need to make some adjustments, or you don't want it anymore. We figure out how do we get you out of it so that you can move into what it is that you do want.
I love that so much. I'm channeling our listeners and they're going, man, that sounds really good. I need to work with someone like Rina. I need this exact kind of help. However, once they call you, they hire you, you're starting to roll, people don't like change. So even if intellectually you've assessed the situation, you say to your client, Bob, sorry to all the Bobs that are listening, we're going to use your name as an example here. You say, Bob, it sounds like you want this kind of business, not that kind of business that you're in today. They have all the old habits. They have all the old patterns. They have all the old comfortable, this is what I'm used to doing. This is what I'm used to selling. This is who I'm used to working with. Talk to me about change management and what is the mindset and the skill set that you help them with to make these kinds of big transitions.
The thing is that a lot of us don't even realize why we struggle with change. We don't understand what it is that happens back here, the little jerk that has those old beliefs that we can't do it that way or that's not going to work for us. So I always tell people we're going to change things and it's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to like it. Fold your arms. Fold them the other way. It's not comfortable. You want to change. Well, guess what? We're not. We're going to sit here for a minute. We're going to figure out why it's uncomfortable, why you don't want to. I always encourage my clients I don't encourage them, I remind them that business is about being honest. You have to be really vulnerable with yourself and honest with yourself about what you do and don't like, where your insecurities lie. Because at the end of the day, that's where your magic is. That's where your answers are. That's where your tools live. So if you can understand why you don't want to do something or why you don't like doing it, it helps us figure out what we can do to get you to do that and to get you to like it. So change is a process. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. So if you want growth, you want success, you need to apply change. Otherwise, you're not going to get those results. So we're very patient. We pay attention. I ask my clients to be honest because it's what gets them to where they want to go. So I don't let anyone throw in the towel. That's not how we work. So you have to be willing to go after what you want and remind yourself
Yes.
every day that it's a process. And once I get it, I get it. And if I never get it, we change the method.
We skipped over. You said something brilliant that I want to go back and emphasize, because I think as entrepreneurs, we have this knee-jerk reaction. So we work with a fabulously gifted coach like you. We're vulnerable, we're honest, we're open. We say, I'm not happy. This isn't working for me. This isn't why I started this 10, 15 years ago. I want something different. You said a brilliant line that I'd love to dig into a little bit more. You said, slow down. We have to sit in this uncertainty for a little bit. Because I think the entrepreneurial DNA is, I'm going to book one call with Rina. I'm going to dump all of this trash onto Rina's head. I'm unhappy. I'm miserable. I'm sad. I'm not making the money that I want. We start to have the beginnings of a discussion about a new direction or a new business model or service model or market or whatever. I go, okay, Rina, got it. I'm going to go make all those changes right now, because entrepreneurs like action and they don't like inaction. They don't like sitting in the mess. And you said, hold on, slow down. We're going to need to sit in this uncertainty for a little bit and process it completely so that we don't do a knee-jerk pivot into another direction that's going to make you unhappy. How do you get them to slow down and sit in the mess a little bit longer than they would ordinarily prefer?
I work very closely with my clients. So I utilize accountability to really keep them in action, which means we're having some type of communication every week. And you are really looking at your stuff. You're looking at what made you uncomfortable, what you didn't do, and you have to be honest about why you didn't do it. That's where the answers are. If you want to change, if you want those different results, you got to look at why you're not doing it and why it's uncomfortable. And we sit in that because that is conditioning from who knows when, from when you were 5 years old, for all you know. And we have to understand what it is that happens that keeps you from wanting to move forward. And so that's why you sit in it. That's why you sit in it and you get uncomfortable and you say, Rina, I don't like this. And I say, that's okay, because you're going to get some results and then you'll be happy and you'll say, I'm sorry. So it's fine. But it really is. If you want to have something lasting, then you need to be patient with your process, because the discipline is in the details. And if we can't figure out what the details are, the discipline is just going to come and go. You're going to be going for it 1 minute and then, you'll just give it up and then you'll say it doesn't work. So that's why we sit in it.
So I want to talk about something else, which I know you've seen firsthand a lot, which is you craft a plan. People are excited. The client's excited about the plan. The plan involves some level of outreach or activating a connection or tapping into their network or asking for help. They say, yeah, Rina, totally. I'm going to go back to my past 5 clients. I'm going to go to my networking group. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You have the call the next week, 7 days later. Hey, Barbara. Now we're picking on Barbara, not Bob. Hey, Barbara, how did it go at your networking meeting? How did your 5 past client calls go? Oh, you know what? I got real busy. The dog got sick. The kids are on holiday. My husband broke his leg. Every excuse under the sun. It doesn't happen. Now, again, 1 week, fine, great. Life does happen. But a pattern, 2nd week, 3rd week. So now there's a disconnect between what they're telling you they want, what they're telling you they're committing to, and the actual actions that they take. So common, so deadly. How do you handle it? How do you get under that to get them out of it?
I will usually scale back the activities and we'll go to one focus. One focus. Get that one thing done. Get that one thing done. Once that one thing is done, you're going to let me know. Then we're going to find the next focus, because if it's overwhelming to someone, they won't do it. If they don't like it, they won't do it. So the game I play is really is, what can I do to get them to do it? I know it sounds silly, but it's almost going back to, like, if you're a parent, how do you convince your child to do something that they really don't want to do when they really just discovered that no word, right? So it's giving them options. Okay, well, if this doesn't work, how about we try this method? If that method works for you, because business is all about trying new things. You have to find what works for you. So what's working for the other person might not work for you. And instead of trying to make work for you, we're going to find another way. Because
I think, yeah,
finding the way is what gets you excited and makes you feel more empowered. And so you'll do it.
Hey, if you're loving this episode as much as I am, pop over to doitmarketing.com/manifesto and get your free 37-page download guide to how to sell smarter, sell more easily, sell more often. That's what we're here to help you with at The Selling Show. Off you go. I think that this whole round hole square peg, where people have a monolithic system or direction that they push every single one of their clients, that I think is what's causing so much heartache in the coaching business. Not for the coaches, but for the clients. Like, oh, I hired a coach before, I didn't like it. Well, you didn't like it because they were trying to force fit you into their template or their mold. And that didn't fit your personality. It didn't fit your preferences. It didn't fit your strengths. And it also didn't fit your clients and your prospects, your target market. So it's like, yeah, you do 100 cold calls a day. That's the answer to all your problems. Or, post on LinkedIn 3 times a day and just go bananas on social selling because, God knows that works. P.S. disclaimer, it doesn't work.
That's
but people have these systems, right? They have these monolithic, live stream video is the answer to everything. Facebook ads is the answer to everything. Webinars is the answer to everything. And as I know, it doesn't really work that way. So it sounds like you're crafting a solution to fit that particular business owner in that season of their business, given their strengths and preferences and personality.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine when I see, buy this system, this is the strategy, the winning strategy. How do you know? The amount of time it will take you to figure out how to make somebody else's strategy work for you. You could have created your own systems, your own strategies that work with your strengths, talking to your clients, to your target, and getting both of you the results that you want on your dime. It's an investment that you're making in your business and in your growth, instead of trying to, like you said, the square hole, the square peg in the round hole just doesn't work.
Yeah. I mentioned in the introduction that you are, in fact, an award-winning coach. I did not bother to tell folks that you're a multi-award-winning coach. Can you talk about the award very briefly?
Yeah, where I live, I live in the South Bay, and every year, I typically will miss this, to be honest with you. They do the South Bay's best, South Bay's favorite, and for the last 3 years, my business, and the South Bay is very big. It's a lot of communities. It's anywhere, I think, down from Long Beach to LA, Inland Valley. Anyhow, I've won the South Bay's favorite small business consultant.
There you go.
Very, very humbling, and it's really nice. I grew up here. I've invested a lot of time in the business community here. It's where my heart is.
People say 1 time, maybe you got lucky. 2 times, maybe that's some other kind of fluke. 3 times, that's a pattern. That's a trend. So 3 times, you're probably on your way to 4, 5, 6. Who knows? I mean, this could just keep going. Don't move. Don't move to anywhere else because South Bay loves you as they should. So talk a little bit about when people come to you, they're obviously not happy with something in their business, something in their world. Where I'm going with this is one of the mantras that I believe, and I'd love you to either pick this apart or agree with it. Business problems are sometimes personal problems in disguise. So people are complaining to you about business, sales, marketing, lead gen, team is terrible, can't find good people, what the hell is wrong with everyone, where's the work ethic of these young kids today, whatever they're saying. But there's some personal stuff going on behind that for that business owner. Tell us a little bit about how do you detect that? What little red flags go off in your mind? And then how do you help the business owner through those things?
I am a big advocate of listening to people and not just listening to their words. I listen to the delivery, I watch the body language, and I listen to the words. Do they get deflated when they're talking about it? Are they deflecting? Somebody said something to me several months ago, and it's been something that stuck with me. Are you creating something to worry about? Are you focusing on something to worry about instead of focusing on that one thing that we know we need to be working on and, focusing on? So being able to hear, I mentioned earlier, I'm a bullet point speaker and thinker. So when I hear all the crayons coming out of the coloring box, that's usually a sign that I'm feeling this. And don't get me wrong, feelings are important, but that is a clue. I feel like this is happening. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling unorganized. Well, what's happening? Where are all the thoughts going? Let's get down to what's the root of it. So yeah, I listen on many, many levels, and I wonder, where is this coming from? Are we avoiding something? Is this something we really need to address and look at? Are you burnt out? So I listen. That's really what I do. And I separate.
Yes. I want to talk about work ethic and sort of it's the flip side of work ethic. So you'll have a fantastic coaching call with a client, give them that one thing, going back to that one thing. Hey, let's solve this one thing. Let's take this one action. Let's make that one connection. Whatever that one thing is. And they process it with you and they're getting excited about it. And they're like, Rina, I can totally do that. That's easy. I'm going to put it on my calendar for this afternoon. Yes. You're 3/4 of the way through that coaching session. And invariably they say, what else? What else should I be doing? This goes back into what you were saying about, are you creating things to worry about? It's like, are you creating things for extra busy work, or do you want the results? So I think you're masterful at paring down, simplifying, focusing, and directing the next best action of what needs to happen to get that business owner to where they want to go. But they think, oh, Rina, that's too simple. There has to be more. It has to be more complex. It has to be more difficult. There must be 17 more steps that I need to do. How do you get them off the complex, crazy, busy train and into the simplified, focused, directed mode of entrepreneurial work that they need to be doing?
This is where my clients will sometimes be like, you said that last time. And I remind them, yeah, I did, because it's important. And because I really drill down and stand my ground on, when you complete that, we will get there. You can't be very wishy-washy with me. It doesn't work well. We're probably, I'm gonna push you a little bit, and you might be a little frustrated. But the thing is, we have to find your new groove. And if you are in a hurry, you're going to make mistakes. and you're going to waste time. So why not let's just do this the right way. Let's just trust me for a minute. That's why we're working together. Let's do this. I really do nail down on that. And if you get it done, great. Tell me. Then you get the next step. It really, I mean, it sounds so, for lack of better words, remedial, but sometimes that's what you need to create that habit so that, it's not a race, it's a marathon.
It's funny. There are these various productivity systems, whether it is a planner or a journal or something. Almost all of these will have some sort of blank spot for what is your number one priority for today. Number one. It's not what's your 17 priorities for today. It's what's your number one priority for today. And then depending on the planner, depending on the system, it might say, okay, what are your 3 needle mover actions that will help you move forward on that number one priority? So we're talking 1, 2, 3, or 4 things. We're not talking 17 things. We're not talking a long list of 15 to-dos. Why do you think with the Protestant work ethic, the Jewish, Catholic, Muslim work ethic, all the work ethics, why do people love these long-ass to-do lists? And how can we focus them on the fact and the reality that less is actually more? And if you can do fewer things better, your business would skyrocket forward like you wouldn't believe. You know that's true. I know that's true. How do we get our clients to drink the Kool-Aid?
I love that you bring this up, because the thing is, like, it is the simple thing. Everybody will say they have a priority, but then they give a whole list of things that they need to do instead of, no, what are your first steps? Like, what is the first thing that you do? And honestly, I really believe that it's because we identify our success and being a good person and being productive with being busy and overwhelmed. And it's a mindset, right? It's this whole, I said it before, it's that whole hustle culture. You just work until you drop. And, if you're not tired, then it's not working. And that's just a bunch of BS. Like, if you want to do it right, you do it well, and you do it with intention, and you do it with meaning and focus. And it doesn't have to be 5 things to get the result that you're looking for, if you do it with intention in the right way. So stop being in a hurry to try to feel good about being accomplished, and it's the same thing. You still accomplish something. You're still getting what you need, and you're doing it the right way that's sustainable. And it's going to be it's always going to be consistent if you're doing it this way. And in business, we want consistency. We want consistent growth. We want consistent productivity.
As we're landing the plane here, because this is so juicy and so wonderful. Consistent productivity, consistent progress. Once a business owner gets the systems, the process, the team, the structure in place, they used to be a workaholic, let's say. They're really wanting to win back their time. They're really wanting to take something called a vacation. Perhaps you've heard this term, listeners. Perhaps you've heard this term. Take time away from the business, because now the business is a well-oiled machine. So they have now time, they have margin, they have freedom, spend more time on hobbies, creative pursuits, hanging out with their family. Once we have this system and we start to enjoy a little bit of free time, a little bit of margin, a little bit of creative time, a little bit of time off the grid, how do you help them keep from slipping back into those old habits and sliding backwards? About maybe it's the micromanaging, maybe it's the abdicating versus delegating, but there must be some guardrails that you put in place. They've had this breakthrough, but they're human, like you said. They're, human nature wants to go back to the workaholic 80-hour-a-week grind. How do you keep them elevated above the fray?
Me personally, my business, I'm in their calendars. My clients share their calendars with me. The minute they start overdoing it and overwhelming themselves, we have a conversation. Because especially if they have a partner, if it's not just them, it really is. To me, quality of life is very important. And I think that if you are going to have a business and you're going to continue to work for that, you need to also work for that quality of life that you envisioned. So I stay in their calendars and we revisit the vision. So you're here. Everything is running the way you want it to go. Now, if we leave you here and you plateau, what happens? So you have to revisit the vision. You have to adjust some systems to support the next level. So it's about being in it, being honest and being consistent. And again, that accountability. So if something's changed, you want to go on vacation, we haven't done that before. We need to make sure that everything is set up for you to do that. And then how do we do it so you have more? You need to grow your team. So it's always a growth process.
And as they evolve, it's different levels of problems, different, higher level problems, better problems, more sophisticated champagne problems, yet there's still problems. And like you said, it's revisit, revise, reinforce, adapt as needed. And then they're going to go through those stages and phases much more easily than if they're on their own and then they risk slipping backwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's why people work with coaches. It's why, Kobe had a coach, great athletes, successful people have a wingman.
Yes. Amen. 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 Well, speaking of wingman and wing women and wing people, where and how can people get connected and stay connected to more Rina Mora brilliance?
Well, I am on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of fun information on there because I do like to give back. And then you can also go to my website, which is rinamora.com, or you can go for the tinybutmightycoaching.com. Either way, there is more information about me, how I work, and a way to get a hold of me. And I'm always happy to answer people's questions. They're like, how do I work with a coach? What does it mean? What does it entail? Everybody's different. I do like to take a personal approach to my clients, and I like to give back.
Amazing. Well, Rina Mora, you're a rock star. I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping all these value bombs today.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.